Hey everybody, I'm Rocky Rockett, and this is the Rocky Road, a show about independent music artists and the music professionals who support them. I'm here today with DJ Too Deep, a good friend of mine and mentor of mine too. And DJ Too Deep, good to have you, bro. How are you?
Blessed and favored, lady, just like you. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell me well, not me. Tell everybody about yourself. What like how did you get started in the music industry?
Okay. Well, I've always had a passion for music. I come from a family of people who were involved in music, although they wasn't celebrities. They were involved. My mom was in the choir. She actually performed in DC for the members of Congress. I had uncles that were in the band. I had an uncle who was a DJ. I later found out he was a DJ. So there was always music around us. And in my household, it was always music. So I was always interested. And I guess different people have different leanings. My leaning has always been toward words and wordplay and workmanship. So, which made me really get into music and further into like what the actual words were saying, not just liking the beat and things like that. So, my
So
mom's
why don't you tell me
favorite
about which oh, I'm sorry.
My mom's favorite artist, no problem. My mom's favorite artist was Marvin Gaye and Donny Hathaway and Stevie Wonder. So if you know anything about those artists, you know that they are heavy on the wordplay.
So why don't you tell me about what you do right now inside of the city of Houston?
Well, with all the shutdown stuff going on, primarily I'm in creation mode right now. Primarily, I'm networking, meeting new people for some of the endeavors I have in mind for the future and preparing. So, um, for me, that's two fiction novels I'm working on. Well, a fiction novel and a children's book that I'm working on. An app that I'm working on. I'm in the process of positioning myself as a wellness trainer, so be able to help people get their physical, mental, and spiritual in order. Um, and just different endeavors along those lines. Sometimes it's hard to remember everything because I do a lot. I actually need a team, but at some point that's gonna come to fruition within itself. Um, I'm primarily known in the city as a DJ. That's the thing that people know me the most for. Being a record breaking DJ at that, which I always like to make that distinction because all DJs are not created equal, and for a layman, they need it. When I tell them I'm a record breaking DJ, it creates a curiosity for them to want to know what that means. Because oftentimes, even the consumers don't know the difference between different types of styles or different ways people approach DJing.
So, in your definition, what is a record breaking DJ?
Well, a record breaking DJ is a DJ that not only plays what's hot, but it introduces new music and gets it hot. He's a part of the process of turning the song you heard the first time into your favorite song. So that's a lot of what I specialize in.
Mm. So, how would a music artist be able to determine if the record that they are pushing is something that a record breaking DJ has the ability to break?
Well, my idea is to start inward and work your way out. And what I mean by that is once you've created something and you think it has a potential, you start with your immediate circle and you get their opinions. And then from there, you move outward. You go from there to the local neighborhood juke joint or whatever. And then from there to a larger crowd, and then from there to other people. A lot of DJs are willing to give you at least a one spin shop. And I would use that as a way to gauge the viability of the particular song in the market. The only thing that I see a lot of artists do, because some of them do kind of do this, but the thing that I would tell most artists that are trying to do something like that, take for granted all the venues are back open and everything is running back how it's supposed to. I would say don't make it known that it's your song if you're in the venue and they're playing it and you're trying to test it, because for one thing, some artists tend to get so swept up in the moment of my songs getting played in the club that they're not really paying attention to the audience. And that's what they really should be doing, is paying attention to the audience, because you feel like you've reached a certain milestone, and for you it may be, but you're missing out on valuable information because you're so caught up in my song getting played in the club. Yeah, this is my song. I got my hand in the air. You need to be looking at how people are responding. And that kind of tells you the viability of what you have, or how fast it has the potential of catching on for people.
I've heard some of your music.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do when you're working with other DJs to play your music, or is this something that you do?
I haven't got to that stage yet. Well, this is kind of my second go around with music, so I haven't gotten back to that stage yet. I'll say that. But I've definitely experienced that stage of it. For those who may be watching this, that's from a different area. I'm from the north side of Houston, Texas. And my neighborhood is Trinity Garden, and we have a song called Trinity Garden Drop. It's kind of an ode to the neighborhood, and it's kind of attached to a dance as well. That's the biggest song that I've been a part of so far as an artist. And I had to go through the process of taking it to DJs and getting their approval and networking with them and things of that nature, just like, any other artist. Because actually at that point, I wasn't as well known as a DJ. So so I basically had to go through the same type of ropes that everybody else do. With this second go around, I have a lot more relationships and contacts already in place, but I still intend in a lot of ways to kind of take the grassroots approach to a degree. So don't be surprised if you see me at some of these showcases and these open mics and things of that nature, because I do plan on hitting them. I think my approach is different than a lot of artists who may be just coming in, because I have a different understanding of why open mics and showcases and things like that are viable. See, I intend to stay in everybody's brain in the building as soon as I get out the car. That's where my head is at. So I'm getting everybody's contact. I'm getting everybody's social media. I'm plugging up with the DJs. I'm developing relationships. I'm checking back and getting back and forth with them and developing like that. I'm doing possible collaborations, all of that kind of stuff in the beginning, because it may sound opportunistic, but it's a fact of life that if you're in a room, if you're at a showcase, you're in a room of 70 artists, the reality of it is 9 times out of 10, the majority of them are not going to do what it takes to get to the next level. So then a lot of them end up being consumers of the music more so than being involved in the music. So that's one of the fastest ways to develop a following, whether it's having people speak your name in a positive light when you're not in the room because they met you at an event and your name comes up, whether it's them being interested in working with you as an artist, whether it's them developing a love for your music and wanting to follow your music. It's all beneficial. So it's all about how you approach those situations. But certainly I don't have all the hurdles that a new artist who's not in my position has. I don't have all of those, but I will take some of those routes regardless because I understand the value of them.
As an artist and a DJ, tell me about your fan base. How did you get them? How do you gain fans? How do you know who to tag? Who actually
Yeah.
genuinely supports your stuff? Your art. Tell me about them. How did you gain them along the way?
Um, Walking my talk and not being afraid to talk to people. Those are probably the main two things that made the most difference in the people who support me right now. Um, when people meet me, I'm a genuine person and I have genuine interest in them. And it's not just all about what can you do for me. And that goes a long way. And then I do good work, whether it's from a DJing standpoint or whether it's me musically, I do good work. Most of my following is of the DJ following right now because, like I said, and this is my second go around with the music, so some of those have to be developed a little further. But a lot of the people who follow me from a music standpoint were already following me when I was on my first go round, and since then I've been doing stuff kind of like a teaser to put my name out and let people know that, hey, I'm getting ready to come back with new music. So that's one of the main reasons why I've been doing some of these challenges and things like that, just as a way to reacclimate people. Hey, I do music and I'm about to come with some original content pretty soon. So if you're not familiar to me, check this out and get ready for what I'm about to come with. So that's what I'm doing in the meanwhile while I'm
I
recording
also
original content and stuff like that. Go ahead.
saw a picture of you on the internet holding a plaque that you got recently with
Yeah,
some other DJs, right? Can you tell
indeed.
me a little bit about how did that happen? And yeah, yeah, tell me all about that.
Okay, so the deal with that is this. Like I said, I'm a record breaking DJ. So the owner of 1501 recently brought OG Ron C, shout out to him, into the staff. He's a part of the 1501 team. And he is very familiar with me as a record breaking DJ. He's actually brought music to me on several different occasions for me to put my support, my stamp behind. And so when it came to the point of I don't really know all the details of the rift between 1501 and Megan, but when all in the midst of all of that going on, I think um, Ron may have approached Carl with the concept of supporting the DJs that's been supporting the music from the beginning, because I myself have been supporting Megan's music for a little while now, way before her breakout song, which was the Big Old Freak song. So then when that song came and I was supporting that myself along with other DJs in the city that have been supporting it without without necessarily looking for anything in return. That was one of the main things, I think, because it wasn't one of them kind of things where he was paying all the DJs a bunch of money to play Big Old Freak. People supported her, liked the idea of a female from Houston making some leeway in the entertainment, and she makes quality music. So we're going to support it. I myself have been looking for a female artist to support for quite some time, but so many of the ones prior to her had certain elements that were missing that made it where they may not have been in a position to get as far as she got. So he decided to acknowledge the DJs that supported the Big Old Freak single, going gold. And so he got the plaques, the people who actually make the plaques. You can call and order those plaques if there's an actual, gold album out. So you can get as many as you want. So he made the order, and I was like maybe the third or fourth DJ who was in the picture of everybody that got his plaque. If I actually got a plaque for every song I was instrumental in breaking, I'd have a wall covered with plaques. Because I have like a lot of years in the DJing realm, and I've been a part of a lot of artists and a lot of singles breaking, definitely in the city. And it may seem small to somebody who may not have a full understanding, but Houston is a major market for music outside of Houston. And Houston is a perpetuator of music in the state of Texas for stuff outside of Houston. So you get like Houston and like Dallas supporting a song, you pretty much gonna get Texas. And when it comes to the north side of Houston, that's pretty much me. So the acknowledgement, it wasn't, some people may look at it like it was fluff or something to do just to create notoriety, but in actuality, it's something that is long overdue. And if more record labels and independent labels and people who move like that started moving that way, you would probably get more support from the DJs, because oftentimes the DJs are the last to be compensated, but they are the first people that you need to get the people. So shout out to 1501, shout out to Megan, shout out to OG Ron C. Shout out Carl.
Shout out Carl. Yeah. So you've been on many adventures in your years. Your years as a DJ and as an artist, as all the way around supporter of independent music artists. Tell me about, how did you get to Africa? How did that come up? How did that come about? How did you, tell me about that situation right there?
That was God's plan. That was very much so God's plan. That's first and foremost. So there are people who I grew up with in my neighborhood that are also involved in community-related endeavors. Because outside of DJing and coming with music and stuff like that, I'm also very involved in the community. And I have some people in my neighborhood who are also involved in the community, but in a different type of way. So this particular person who I grew up with, her older sister, who I didn't have as much of a relationship with because she's from a previous generation, but I had mentioned to her that I wanted to DJ in Jamaica and I wanted to DJ in Africa. She was like, well, my sister is going to Africa. She's doing this mission trip. So I was like, yeah, cool, I want to do it. But because I came in at such a short notice as far as being involved with her and her organization, I think the name of the organization is I'll Go, which is a nonprofit, and that's basically what she does. Is she travels around the world doing relief effort type stuff. They do, but it's more related to the church. So they do like Bible study and Bible classes and stuff like that. But they also do feeding the homeless and providing toys and clothes and stuff like that too. So I did, I had to raise the funds in order to go. And it was significantly more expensive for me because it was such a close time to the trip. So how I ended up getting the funds together, I think maybe the trip costed about $3,000, $3,500 just for the flight, something to that area. Don't quote me on that because it was like 2 years ago. But I think I had maybe about 600 or 700 of it, and all the rest came from donations. Half of which came from my church, which is Greenhouse International Church in the Greenspoint area. Shout out to Pastor Decker. And the other half came from the club. So what I did was I did, I guess, a benefit, if you would call it that. I had done it before on behalf of my OG Wicked Cricket, RP to Wicked Cricket, by the way, as a fundraiser. So basically what I did is I put my tip jar out, which is something I never do, which a lot of people say I should do more often. Like, you don't never have a tip jar out. But, whatever the case, so I put a tip jar out and I said, hey, if you request a song and I play it, tip me at least $1. You can put as much as you want, but it has to be at least $1. Or if I play a song you like, tip me at least $1. And everything that you put in this tip jar is going towards this trip to Africa. So people started putting money in. It even got to a point where I would go to other events I was involved in where I wasn't even DJing. And people were, hey, I saw you talking about going to Africa, man. They hit me with the Wakanda Forever, all that. I give you 20, I give you 30, I give you. And before you know it, I got what I needed and I went out. So my primary purpose was the mission. So we fed the homeless. We led some Bible study classes, things of that nature. We worked in a clinic because yellow fever is a big deal in the part of Ghana where we were at. So we were kind of dealing with people who were dealing with yellow fever and things of that nature, stuff like that. And then at night, I would do what I do. So watch TV, try to get up on the culture, get an understanding. Because my mindset is not just about it being a one-time thing. My overall goal is to develop a relationship between Houston and Africa with music, because nobody really markets to Africa directly from the U.S. And I also know that the universal language, besides love, is music. So a lot of cultures who normally wouldn't even deal with each other are interacting with each other and interacting in harmony, and hip hop was the glue that connected them. So I feel like likewise, I can use this not only for financial gain, but to develop harmony amongst Black people born in Africa and Black people born in the U.S. Because if we listen to the same music, we can have a conversation. That's basically how I look at it. So at night, I would go watch different videos and move around and interact. And I actually got a chance to DJ while I was there at a venue called After Work, which is like a kind of upscale spot for them out there. And then after that, I went to their version of Mr. A's, which is the hood spot. So, so yeah, it was a very interesting event altogether, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Besides having my daughter, it's the second best thing I've ever done. Indeed. So I actually was supposed to go back this year to further the endeavor of building that relationship, but with all the Corona stuff and all of that, it turned into what's going on. So my intention is to go next year. I'm not very good at giving up, so it just kind of postponed it, which in a way it might be better, because oftentimes in entertainment, me personally, what I've noticed is sometimes I have a set date in my mind and something will happen to make me have to change that date, but oftentimes the date I change to end up being better for whatever reason. So I'm looking at this as that's in all likelihood what's going to happen with this. It's like I didn't get a chance to go this year, but that's just going to make 2021 that much more impactful.
Man, that is an adventure.
Right now, I have a small team in Ghana that if anybody has any promotional items, I can send to them and they will distribute them. So
Wow, that's beautiful.
shout out Team Ghana, by the way.
Shout out Team Ghana too. So you mentioned OG Wicked Cricket a minute ago too. Tell me a little bit about him, who he was, how you met him, and the influence and the role that he's played on you as a mentor throughout your career.
Indeed. Okay. So where do I begin? First of all, one thing Houston should have a thorough understanding of is without Wicked Cricket and a handful of other people like Steve Fournier and of course Jay Prince a little bit later on down the line, um, we would all be trail riders because they are the people that introduced the hip hop culture into Houston. Some people may not remember, excuse me, and I'm not even old enough to remember the pre hip hop Houston, but these are the people that were the perpetuators of the culture and brought it into the city and got everybody acclimated. Before then, we were solely consumers of the music, of music that was thought was only going to be a fad. So in the city, he was like one of the main DJs at the time. He was an MC, and he also put on a lot of different events at clubs that gave people opportunity to get on stage and be heard. So some of the first times Houston ever heard Willie D was through Wicked Cricket. Some of the first times they ever heard K Reno was through Wicked Cricket. And he's been a perpetuator in the city up until the time of his passing. Even when he was dealing with his illness, he was still doing his diligence as far as working for the city. I met him in my early 20s, just trying to be a rapper in the city before I even thought about taking DJing serious. Because he would always be doing the showcases and the open mics. And he would also, host the concerts. Whenever Too Short came to town, he was the host and the MC, different people like that. He brought Mystical to the city as far as introducing his music, stuff like that. So, and he had music of his own too. So as I've moved further and further and it got more of a being like something I just like to do and it became more of my career, I ran into him more and more and we developed a rapport. I think he sensed something genuine in me and I've always seen him to be a genuine person. And that was kind of our glue that brought us together. And then beyond that, we started, developing more and more rapport. Over his last maybe I would say 5 or 6 years of being alive, we started working together. He became the MC at Hood Night, which is on the north side of Houston. If you're from out of town, you might not be familiar. Come check us out Monday nights. But he became the MC. So it went from occasionally seeing him to seeing him every Monday. So our rapport only increased, and it went from more of a that's the OG of the city to that's my OG. Because now we are having regular phone conversations. Now we are meeting each other outside of club and music business work and stuff like that. And so he's one of the people who really pushes the issue of me doing music because he would hear me do certain stuff and like, man, why are you not putting your own stuff out? And this is when I was more focusing on the DJ side of it. And he was like, you got to put you out. That's one thing that I wish I would have did is kept putting out more music because some of these people are now able to retire off of music. And I'm still kind of in a position that I'm in where if the artists or the perpetuators in the music don't see my value in a certain way, then I'm not being compensated in the way I should. So always put your pictures on everything you do. Make sure your face is on it. Put out more music. Start being a star. You bigger than the place that you DJ at. You way bigger than that. And so just that kind of stuff. So when he got sick, I got very involved in trying to get him back well, which is where the Tip the DJ benefit first started. And it's actually where my path of alkaline foods kind of got fast forwarded too, because it was more so about trying to get him healthy. Actually, when I went to Ghana, I went on safari. They have a place where you can make donations, and they have a book where you can sign in and you can leave a message. And I signed in with his name and made my donation. And then I got some of the elders of the camp where we were living, or one of the camps where we were living, and I got them to sign his T-shirt so that, you know, I could hang it on the wall and things of that nature. But yeah, definitely a sorely missed entity of the city. Hope that wasn't too long. I could talk about him all day.
Wow. No, not at all. No, too long when we're talking about a legend who's passed away, right? Like
Indeed.
it's as much time as we need on that subject, as much time as we need. You may
Indeed.
mention though in there about uh you may mention about being an artist, pushing your music forward. Tell me a little bit about, well, you know, I was scrolling my Facebook timeline, and I just so happened to run across a post of two of my favorite club DJs and linked up on the north side and the south side. How did that happen? And what is the future of that collaboration look like? And the person that I'm talking about, y'all, is Mr. Wired Up, who is a DJ out of Onyx, one of the longest lasting black urban black gentlemen's clubs in Houston. And we got DJ Too Deep, a legend on the north side with Mr. A's the club. I was so excited about this collaboration, y'all. So, you know, I had to ask him about it.
Indeed. So the song is originally his. Shout out to Mr. Wired Up. And that's actually my YG. I've been knowing him like for years. When he first started like really taking rap serious was when we were really on our push with the song Trinity Garden Drop that I told you about. So he had a song, I'm trying to think Put It in the Air was a song that he had at the time when he was basically just leaving Prairie View A&M. So we've been knowing each other for years and years, and before he was even a DJ, when he was just, you know, being an artist. So he put out the challenge of people, you know, putting out the verse, and I just accepted the challenge, and that was pretty much it. And to understand now how there's supposed to be a video made around it and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so it just kind of feeds into the endeavor of acclimating the audience to me as an artist and what my approach is to, I guess, lyricism or whatever. And an opportunity to work with somebody who I've been, you know, supporting and working with and cool with for like over 10 years. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Shout out again to him, to Mr. Wired Up. And 1501, because he's with 1501. So.
And 1501.
Yeah.
So what does what advice would you give an artist or DJ who is, well, for one, in a position right now where they can't DJ and feel like there's not a lot of opportunity for them to be an artist because we're experiencing COVID-19 shutdowns right now, as far as the club scene is concerned. What type of advice would you give someone that you've taken on yourself that's actually helped push you through this rocky time?
Indeed. Well, the main two things that I've been focusing on is diversifying my skill level and creating material. Those are the main two things that I've been doing personally. Um, and I would suggest both of those to a DJ or artist is start creating. Um, One, it's a lot of unfortunate aspects to it, but there's also the fact of a lot of people are at home. A lot of people have more downtime. A lot of people are in front of their TVs and their phones and stuff like that more now because of the stuff that's going on. And so there's still an opportunity there. It just may not be in the way that we are used to seeing it. Um, if you solve a problem, you become a millionaire. So I would say get creative on solving the problem of connecting yourself to your consumer base or your fan base, your supporters. Get creative. Start developing relationships. From an artist standpoint, I would say this is the perfect time to be in all the DJs DMs and to be developing a relationship, not just spamming them links, but actually getting on a conversational level with people online. That is more possible now than any other time because a lot of people can't be face to face with people. So they are more open to the concept of having a dialogue via DMs or you guys doing a Zoom call from the DM or an actual phone call or text messages or emails. Start developing relationships with people. Every DJ ain't gonna be your from an art standpoint. Every DJ initially is not gonna be your DJ. So you don't necessarily get upset when one particular DJ is not supporting you. You just move on and find the ones that do. And again, develop that rapport because at some point, all of these doors are going to start opening back up. The venues are going to get back into some level of full swing. You want to already have that rapport when that does happen. Like I even saw a video where a guy was saying, and I wouldn't necessarily suggest this directly, but the idea behind it makes sense. He was like, pick a DJ that you want to support your music and just send them $100. And he made the suggestion saying that basically you're hoping these people put you in position for millions of dollars. And right now they all suffering. One of the fastest ways to stick out in their minds is to show them support beyond what is normal at this particular moment. So everybody's like, man, this mess. Most people not even really giving a damn about the DJs right now, being honest, except the DJs. And but the ones that do, they give you the well wishes and stuff like that, but it kind of ends there, as opposed to, like, let's say for example, if it was a person trying to get on my radar, I wouldn't even necessarily say give me money. But if you knew of an opportunity of a DJ making money and you forwarded that opportunity to that DJ you trying to develop a relationship with, that's definitely going to make you stick out in their minds right now because nobody's doing it. The rappers are looking out for themselves. The producers are looking out for themselves, the DJs. But without the DJ, a lot of these other people's jobs becomes obsolete because the DJ is still the person that introduces that finished work, which includes the beat that producer made, the rhymes that rapper made, the video that the videographer made. That still funnels through a DJ. Even in this time of digital downloading, it's still the DJ that tells a person that out of the 9 billion options they have on Spotify to pick you.
So you mentioned something right there about it making you stick out in that DJ's mind. What artist And it doesn't have to be for their support, financially or otherwise of you, but what artist sticks out in your mind, um, as of recently, just off the top of your head?
Off the top, Young Martez, shout out to him. Just because of his consistency and his quality of work, like he's been putting out music for a little while now, and I really feel like the city don't support him as much as they should. But at the end of the day, it usually means that something on the other end that needs to be done from a music standpoint, an artist standpoint. He's definitely consistent, and I've seen him come from like a long ways from doing what he's doing now. So like him, I would say D Bondo, they both from the same, neighborhood or whatever, Fifth Ward, shout out to Fifth Ward. Um, I would definitely say he stands out. DJ Young Sam, he got a lot of new music getting ready to come out. So I would definitely say him as well because he's very versatile, from a hip hop vibe to the R&B vibes, and even coming up with hooks and tracks from scratch, and being a videographer. Like he kind of touches a lot of different realms that, if all utilized properly, could make him really stellar, like on a global level. Those are probably the first three right out the gate. And myself,
Okay.
of course.
And yourself, of course.
Yeah.
Can't forget about you.
I really like my music.
I like your music too, bro. I
Well,
like your music too.
I'm glad you like it.
So, what if you could give me one of the rockiest times in all of your career? What time would you say that that was? And how did you come out of it?
Oh, you mean besides right now?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
besides right now. I mean, you could say
Uh,
right now,
yeah, because
but
I
it's
set a record,
about
man.
we're still in it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um, besides right now, I would probably say around 2014. 2014 to 16. I have a feeling Mr. Rocky about to start making noise because he in there whining right now. But
Aw.
yeah,
We're almost
2000.
done. Tell Rocky, hold on. That's his dog, y'all. It's not me.
Yeah, but primarily it was a lot going on all at once. Me and my child's mother was having a lot of issues. My mom had passed. My DJ gigs were not happening as much. There was just a lot going on all at one time. I had a whole lot of opportunities of growth, I guess you would say, around that time. And how did I get through it? First and foremost, faith. I would say that was first and foremost. And faith based on understanding. And that understanding is that I'm a creator created by a creator for the purpose of creation. Although I didn't have it in such a neatly packed package at that time, that was the basic spark or the basic gist of what began my climb out of the dark hole, if you will. That's actually where the whole getting to the greatness phrase came from. Because it is getting to the greatness is my slogan for anybody that is trying to improve from where they are, no matter where in their development they might be, whether they are just starting, whether they're just realizing they need to start, or whether they are moving full speed ahead and hitting a lot of milestones. So when all of this was going on, and I think I had just like gotten out of a relationship too. So it was like a lot going on. You got the death of my mom, the getting out of relationships, which typically never is good at the onset of the breakup or whatever the case might be. The money situation wasn't looking in a certain kind of way. And I think what happened is another DJ that I work with, he was going through some stuff too. And he was kind of in sulk mode. And I think what happened was, matter of fact, that's what happened. I grabbed his hand. I said, hey, man, we're not finna sit around here and be crying and shit. We getting to the greatness. We finna make it happen. Wherever we at, we finna get out of that. And it kind of started right there. And so every time I would see him, after that, I'd give him down and be like, hey, man, we getting to the greatness. Like, yeah, man, we getting to the greatness. And so I kind of kept going with it from that point. One thing I've definitely learned is how to take trauma or something that could be perceived as negative and spin it in a way that not only benefits me, but benefit other people who get to hear the story or get to, see the reap the rewards of that. There are people now on social media, for example. What I'll do a lot of times, and you've seen it because we're on Facebook together, when I see somebody achieving or moving forward, I'll comment the hashtag getting to the greatness on their posts. And it's gotten to a place now where there are people who look for that. Like I've gotten comments back where it's like, oh, I know I'm doing something now. He put getting to the greatness on my post. So it's like a way to push and motivate people and to congratulate them in where they are. Because a lot of times people are waiting to get to the end of the rainbow and not enjoying every step along the way. And like a guy by the name of Earl Nightingale says, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So if you have a worthy ideal and you're moving forward, you're successful in that moment. It necessarily saying you made it to the $1 million check or the whatever bonus or whatever that milestone you're going. If you've moved one step closer to that than where you were before, you are a success then. You're not just a success once you get to the payday, because all those small successes is what lead to the big success. So
Speaking of big success, let's talk about, and this is my last question, so tell Rocky I'm almost done. Okay.
I kind of feel like he can hear
So,
you even though he can't.
yeah, no, I
See, you heard
know.
that?
Okay, Rocky, it's okay. I'm almost done.
Yeah.
You could have him back. So, this is actually my last question for you. We're at 2020 right now. Let's fast forward 10 years to 2030. In between this next 10-year span, I'm assuming that we won't be in the middle of a pandemic anymore. I'm assuming. But regardless, what are some of the things that you personally were looking to accomplish within this next 10 years?
Oh, okay. Well, first, I'm not in a pandemic. I'm in a shutdown. Some people are in a pandemic. I'm just in a shutdown. I control my state and I control my headspace. So just because the TV says it don't make it so for me. So I'm in a shutdown. I'm not in a pandemic. But 10 years from now, successful writer, established writer, not only from a literary standpoint, but as a music writer as well. That's part of the reason why I'm coming out with new music. Besides the idea of positioning myself to get passive income, residual income, it's a mindset of when people hear my music, they get a feel of how I write, and if they like what they hear, I can do the same for them. So established a world-renowned writer for the literary aspect and for the music. Established in real estate. Established in the wellness arena. Positioning myself to be a speaker as well. So I've already done a couple of events. So established as a speaker as well. Thoroughly established or on a bigger scale as a philanthropist, because some people call me that now, although to me that title kind of fits for people with a bunch of money. But I guess I can wear that title because I do happen to get things done. So just doing that on a bigger scale and finding out how to be a bigger blessing to the planet, because that's kind of what we're here for, is to be a blessing. So we're here to create. So I want to create heaven on earth. That's what we are supposed to be doing. So getting better at that. Helping my daughter become an entrepreneur and a person that controls her state, because I feel a lot of times the things I pour into her and to other, children and people younger than me in general, I pour a lot of the stuff that I learned into them, because I feel like if I had a me when I was her age, I'd be in a lot better place than where I am now, even though I don't regret where I am. But at the same time, if I can help her to skip some of the hurdles that are not character building, then I'm all for that. So I definitely want to have her established as an entrepreneur and as a person that knows how to control their state. Because at some point, I plan on passing the baton to her. When God decides it's time for me to come home, then she's going to be the new and improved 2D. So,
yay, we need a female version of that.
emphasis on
Yes.
improved. Yeah. We talk about certain stuff, and I tell her, yeah, I tell her all the time about all the things that I teach her and she learns from her mom and stuff like that. And part of the conversation is everything that doesn't work, do away with it and evolve it. So that's pretty much the gist of that.
So
DJing around the world.
DJing around the world, for sure.
Yeah, writing more movies. I'll say that wraps it up for now. Because if you let me talk too long, we'll go another 3 hours just on that.
So someone wasn't to contribute, following her, follow your music, support who you are in your mission to your 10-year goal through the rockiness of this shutdown. Yeah. How would they do that? How can they find you?
Okay, well, all of my social media is DJ, the letter I, D-E-E-P, that's DJ2D. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, I'm on TikTok. That's also my emails is the same, though it's with the number 2, because I didn't create it. That's how old it is. I still got a Yahoo. So DJ_2deep at Yahoo. Besides that, hit my phone. It's been the same since Prime Code. For those outside of Houston, that's a long time.
You gonna drop your number?
Yeah, 832-428-8566.
Yay. All right. Well, this was the first episode of Rocky Road. Thank you for breaking it in, DJ 2D. I couldn't think of a better way to start off this series and letting people know why they should continue to support independent music artists and the professionals who support them. This has been a great first episode, I think, and you have continued to be an inspiration to me and many others around you. I want to thank you so much for connecting with me virtually and getting to the greatness with me.
Indeed, indeed. Every day and in every way, I'm getting better and better. Where there's faith,
Hey.
there is no fear.
Yes, and guys, go download the Crowded streaming app. It is Black owned, Black supported, and we are all getting to the greatness together. So thank
Yeah,
you
I'm
all
going to
so
download
much.
that right now.
Yes, please do. In fact, they send me your inbox. I'm gonna send him your information to contact you so that you can actually get on the app too. They pay for your streams. So we want to support Black-owned things and Black people doing things that will further our community, and that includes this music industry, y'all.
Indeed, indeed.
Definitely support includes the music industry for
Indeed,
us
we're the voice of the people.
always.
We are the voice of the people. We say everything you can't say. We say
Yes,
everything you don't know how to say.
exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you so much, brother Too Deep, for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Indeed.